Hi guys, welcome to my Falls Church studio. I wanted to talk about the headlines from 2021, 2020 related to low inventory in the housing market and what that has actually really looked like. So there's the myth of low inventory and there's the facts of low inventory. And we're gonna geek out a little bit, and I'm gonna put a couple of charts up that we're gonna talk about to kind of illustrate my point. But all over the headlines, we've seen, the inventory so low, and yet today's headlines included, actually. In particular, there was a headline this morning that said that in 2021, there were more houses sold than any time in the last 15 years. So if we have low inventory, that's kind of hard to do. And also, our team sold, I can't remember the exact number, 350 to 400 houses in 2021, somewhere between there. That's also hard to do with no inventory. So what's going on? What does that look like? We're gonna start out with chart A, which is a chart that I've been using to show people exactly why there is an inventory problem. And then we're gonna move on to other charts to examine why it's actually a different problem than what we've been talking about. So let's look at chart A. So what chart A is showing us is the number of homes available at the end of the month. So it's only showing us what's left, and that's where chart A gets a little bit problematic. So all we're seeing is the remaining number, and as you see that slope, it's pretty dramatic, obviously, and we've been using that a lot to tell the story of like low inventory, there's no houses, why isn't anybody selling? But now we need to look at chart B, which tells us a very different story. So in chart B, that's telling us the number of new listings that came up during that month. And as you can see, that's a much more level story. And that is, if I bring up the chart for the last 10 years, it is basically flat. You have your seasonal dips and dives, but in terms of the peaks through the year, it's basically flat. And so we have not had low inventory in terms of saying, there's not as many houses as there used to be. That's been the story that's been told by me sometimes and out in the headlines is, where are all the houses? Why isn't anybody selling their house? And what we see in that chart is that's not been the case. That's not been what's happening. The houses have been coming and going just like any other time over the last 8 to 10 years. There's no change. So the difference is in chart C, and this is where it matters, and this is the inventory problem. So what we're seeing in chart C is that the houses are coming, as we saw in chart B, but the buyers are coming in greater numbers and are soaking up all those houses within the month. So we're not seeing it. If we go back to chart A, so many of the homes coming on the market aren't making it to the end of the month. So they're not making it to chart A, so we're not seeing that. And so what it looks like is this big dip. And so there is an inventory problem in that there's more people out shopping than there has been any time in the last 10 years. And the number of homes available is the same. And so the narrative of, why isn't anybody selling, where are all the homes, doesn't play out. It is in fact the case we do need more homes. There are not enough homes for the buyers who are out interested in wanting to buy. And so actually at the end of the month, what we're not satisfying is that demand. So those buyers are carrying over. And so when, like in January, February, when these houses come on the market, all these buyers from my own clients included from Q4 and some actually beyond, quite frankly, are still there and they're ready to soak up the inventory. So even now, there is ready demand for anything that comes on the market. And so that is the inventory problem. It is that there's so many more people out and the same amount of houses. Hope that was a fun geek out. More for you guys, in the coming weeks, I'm sure, as we still try to unpack what's going on out there in the market.